Welcome into Fresh Talks Global Vision. I am always happy when we get to be here together. Today we're doing this live, and I find that conversation about looking at life differently than what perhaps we were raised around or what we're learning. I'm always looking like, how can I look at things differently at different angles? And I'm really into this playing, relaxing, trying to break that generational thing of me thinking I'm lazy if I take a nap, because I'm noticing there's something different even about even going that extreme of like, is that really business? And I'm noticing some certain things. So I'm hoping that kind of comes in too, but because I think it's all kind of the play and the feminine space of catapulting your life, your relationships in the way that you see something bigger than what the brain can do. Because if we keep working really, really hard and we keep forcing things, that we're gonna get somewhere linear. But if we take the time to breathe in and kind of feel the body, feel the nervous system, know where your health and wellness is, nervous system, so you can connect bigger with things, because that kind of bounces us off of things if our body is not in tune with what we're doing. So it's all, I feel like it's like a fine tuning thing. So I'm having a great day today, everybody. I hope you are too. If not, this is going to do it. I think this is going to do it. We have Lisa Jones with us. Hey, Lisa, how are you doing today? Let's do a quick hello before I introduce
Oh,
you.
it's fantastic. I'm excited to be here with you, Rhonda. Thank you for inviting me.
In my brain, somehow I was just hearing you say, it's fabulous. I don't know, for some reason. I'm ready for this play, woman. I mean, looking at, because we got to meet in a certain space where we didn't get to really talk very much, but to be able to read what you've been up to and stuff, I just love it. I'm so excited and happy about it. So let's get more of the intro going here. Okay, so welcome everybody, and let's get ready to take our journal out, pen, and you're going to have some ahas here because we're going to open up in a space where you can start really seeing you. At least I hope so. I've been doing this for 9 years. I'm hoping it all works out. But I'm in the hashtag speaker locking arms. I believe that we're here to open up the voice, help ourselves, open up our voice so we stop the blaming and shaming, especially within ourselves. So then we can give that and receive back and forth that energy, that heart sense that happens where there's stuff happening out there in the world. But what's happening right here and now is what I really feel this humanitarian conversation and approaches. So I can't wait to talk to Lisa more about some of the things that happened in her life and what really helped her grow in the space of believing that that play is the space around connection of everything moving forward. I think this has a refreshing perspective that I absolutely love because she reminds us that transformation doesn't always have to be heavy. And I bet a lot of you can start kind of leaning in on this one. Sometimes one of the fastest ways to reconnect with ourselves and with each other is through laughter, play, and genuine human connection. As a speaker, author, and consultant, Lisa helps organizations transform burned out, disconnected teams into energized, creative, and highly engaged cultures. Through humor, gamification, and practical leadership strategies, she helps I say gamma, but it's like gamification. At least I think so.
You can
Collaboration.
say
More
it either way. I've heard it both ways.
Oh, you have? Okay. I know that E is not the N, so it can kind of throw you off, in this English language. And rediscover the joy that feels innovative and productivity. What I find so beautifully aligned with Fresh Talk's mission is this. When people feel safe enough to laugh together, they begin trusting each other. When trust grows into communication, opens up. When communication opens, voices are heard. And when voices are heard, we move away from blame and shame and toward understanding, belonging, and collective growth. Today's conversation isn't simply about having fun at work. Not just that, it's about creating environments where people can bring their whole selves to the table, contribute to their ideas and leadership, creativity, and meaningful impact. So whatever your business owner or leader or entrepreneur, just simply looking at bringing connection into your life, I believe you're going to walk away with practical tools and renewed perspective. Lisa, thank you for joining us today. I'm really happy you're here. And we have a lot to unpack here. Can we go in with, and I think this is where, but you can adjust your conversation here if you need to. For some reason, before when we were in the green room, I started thinking about the brain tumor you had, and I didn't actually state that part of your bio, but I want to pull that out. Is this one of the perspectives of you starting to realize at this time with this big serious stuff going on? And I'll let you explain what was happening around that time also. Did it help you start recognizing more about relaxing and playing? Is it one of the stories that you can share? Is that connected at all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. And 3 months before my wedding, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So bad timing for that. But what happened was life suddenly became filled with doctor's appointments, uncertainty, and fear, as what happened with anyone, right? But during that time, I noticed something interesting. Whenever I allowed myself to laugh, play a game, or find moments of joy, everything felt just a little lighter. And the situation hadn't changed. I still had the brain tumor, although my ability to face it had. And that experience taught me something I carry into everything that I do today, that play doesn't erase adversity, it helps us move through it. So that's really kind of what changed for me during that process. It was kind of a catalyst to play more, if you will. So, yeah.
I'm just breathing into this because that's such a serious, serious thing. Can we go in and hear more about what the definition of all this really is like to you authentically when it comes to play and how that really actually shows up? I know you're working with clients, you're out there speaking. How does this really show up? Can we just put it like in ground it and kind of put it in terms of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I think what you're getting at is some people hear the word play and they think that we're talking about taking, we'll use work as an example, taking work less seriously, right? And it's something that I hear all the time because play isn't about avoiding responsibility, it's about changing the energy we bring into the responsibility. So play often, we often think work and play are opposites. They're not. Play helps us collaborate better. It helps us solve problems. As in the example I was using with the brain tumor, it helped me get through my problem of having a brain tumor, just like any other problem, but it helps me kind of move through that problem faster. It helps me also, it helps you also communicate more openly and build trust. And trust is where we can really let our guard down. When people feel safe enough to smile together, they're usually safe enough to share ideas together. And that's really where the innovation begins.
I love that. You know, I was to add on to that, and I want to move forward too. But
Mhm.
I was when I was in corporate as a CPA, I worked with all these great people. There's a group of like 5 or 7, just depending on the flexi through those years I was working in that group. And there was somebody that was old school that would hear us laughing and talking, and it sounded like we weren't being productive. And we were overseeing like billions of dollars that were related with, just all these different strategies because it was a big corporation. So it was really really big and important information. So the person would come in and just be like, you guys are doing this, this, and that. And we felt so cohesive together that we
Yes.
started talking about this and saying, this work is actually very serious. And we want, this is the way we're bonding because sometimes we'd start hating each other. Like, oh, you're not doing this because everything would move fast, but it did something what you're talking about. Can you give an example of maybe something like that coming in? Because with your bio, you're coming in and there's this regulation going on and they want you to regulate it. I don't know why I'm using those words, but more like bring it into a flow so that this productivity you're talking about, it actually flourishes while the relationships and the work and all that. Could you share an experience like that? We don't see this enough, and it really powerhouses what you're doing for people. I really want this video to get out there too when we are talking about this stuff because more people need to hear about this stuff. We have too many
Yes,
people in
yes.
chronic pain.
Yeah. And Rhonda, you just had such a fantastic example. So thank you for sharing that because that's exactly what I do. So I'll go into organizations and help them, but it sounds like your organization was already doing that. So
Yeah.
Excellent, and a round of applause for you doing that and recognizing that's essentially what you're doing. By bonding like that, by laughing together, your trust was open and you probably were more productive because of it and didn't even realize it at the time, but that's what you were doing. And that's kind of the environment that I foster when I go into corporations and work with teams, because sometimes they'll be working in silos. They most likely, there's a lot of the team members that don't like each other. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm trying to get them to have fun. So once they have fun, that's when they can open up and realize, okay, maybe I do like Bob that I've been working next to for years. I didn't realize he laughed. And like Bob's laughing, he's open, he's having fun. And that's when they can really start having that trust again. And then that's when you can implement change and collaboration with teams through that. And I think that one thing that leaders can start doing tomorrow is they can give people permission to play. And I'm not talking about putting a ping pong table in the break room. I'm talking about creating psychological safety, because we celebrate learning instead of perfection. This allows us to ask better
Mhm.
questions. We can laugh at ourselves once in a while, instead of, we can invite creativity instead of criticism. And when leaders play appropriately, they give everyone else permission to bring their best ideas forward. So I really think that's the environments. If leaders started leaning into more play, I think everybody would have a happier work environment.
Let's go in there deeper. I know that there's all the work that you do, and I was watching you speak too, because you have great talks out there that you've done. You know, when like you said it, the safety, like there's something about your brain can override certain situations and you can do stuff that you already know, but it's the stuff that gets real creative. Like it catapults a team into a way where you can create something that perhaps you didn't even know that your team could do. And it propels the company in a whole different way, even if it's corporate, because sometimes corporate gets so tight on
Mm.
processes. But if you come in and you're opening people up, all of a sudden you're breaking that stuff where people are saying, we've always done it this way. So that's really important about the growth and being able to experience like that heart, that safety. I think about the heart, but I also think about the nervous system. And I'm thinking about the spine because that's where a lot of nerve endings are. And I want your perspective on where you see this when you see people in transformation. But I know safety is your nervous system saying it's safe here. So now I can open and learn more. I can express more, and it's not going to bounce me out of something.
Mm.
I'm going to be able to lean in more because my body's not going to be shaking and saying alert, 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 but it's going to be doing something to help people feel calm, connect. And if you are really mad at somebody, if you're in that heart center safety, which heart is very smart, very driven with, especially when it's cohesive with the brain, that you start recognizing people as just like human beings and your partners more than this person did that wrong, this person did that wrong. And you start getting out of those cycles, which we hear people are always battling when it comes to working in different office environments. So I can see the ecosystem that you are building. So the first question here is, what are you noticing in this human experience that you get to actually shift and go as deep as you want? Because I'm already talking about nervous system and health and wellness, all that kind of stuff. You go for it, woman. And then let's go into where do you see that actually where you've seen some things shift based on this work right here, building that ecosystem, how that affects that space and the shifts that you've seen. And if you don't get to that last part, we will get there. But right here in that ecosystem you're building.
Yes. So I think the first thing that happens is, I mean, I want to take a step back for a second and talk about adults stop playing. Like if you think about a kid, kids play, and then what happens is that like something doesn't go their way, they'll keep playing. They'll play a different game or they'll try the game again. But at some point along the way, adults stop playing. And I think that's the first thing that happens, because somewhere along the way, we start believing being serious makes us more successful. And then we confuse professionalism with perfection. And I think that's a lot of times when I walk into that organization, the first thing I see, they're like, play. Why would we want to play? We're afraid of looking foolish. But the funny thing is, the people that we admire most, they usually aren't the ones pretending to have all the answers. They're the ones who are authentic, approachable, and willing to laugh at themselves. And when you think about, like, Rhonda, take a step back and think about your favorite leader or somebody, your favorite boss from your past. Like the person
Mhm.
that you think about would most likely check those boxes: authentic, approachable, willing to laugh at themselves. And that's really what play reminds us, that we're human. And what the first thing that happens is that connection. People connect with humans, not perfection. And in that ecosystem, working in that environment, the first thing I like to do is play improv games with them. And that's even something I leave them with after, long after my work is done with the team, helping them increase productivity or whatever the ask is from corporate. I leave them with games that they do, and I still hear reports that like they're still doing those games. They may start with a daily improv game to get the team ready to go with the day. That's how the team feels cohesive
Ooh.
together. So that really affects them on all levels. Like when all of your cylinders are firing, you're a better worker. You're having fun. You're in the game. Like if you think about it, your work is a game. We're always playing, aren't we?
Well, I find I'm getting my laugh back. I want this big change in my life, and it's so cool because all of a sudden I'm starting to feel this spontaneity, this movement,
Yeah.
and that whatever was happening before, it's just kind of like the growing space and learning. And now I feel like we're into the space we were talking about. I'm rebuilding my ecosystem and what's happening, and that is what's needed everywhere. Where is it
Yes.
that can I would love to get that connection of, can you share a story before you came in, what you heard was going on? Then we'll stay with that word ecosystem. And then they received you. You built a really nice ecosystem. And then perhaps how business shifted, or let's just keep it the human condition too, how they shifted, however that works. I would
Okay.
like to hear that part. I think
Yes.
it's a really good
Yeah.
connection there.
Yes, definitely. And the first thing that, as I was listening to you talk about that question, that popped into my mind is a lot of times when the company tells them they'll have, or their leaders will tell them, okay, this person's coming in, then we're going to talk about play and how play can be used to be more productive. You'll have
Yada, yada,
objections, like
yada.
the standard objections. But one of them that always sticks out is somebody will always say, I'm just not playful, and they'll like arms crossed, sit back and maybe watch some of their other coworkers jump in and try it where they just want to watch. And I always like to let people that just want to watch because I don't want anybody to experience be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So they're allowed to watch, but eventually what happens is the arms come down and they're like, "Hey, maybe I'll try this." But a lot of times, so the objection, I'm not playful, is the first thing I think is, okay, well, I'm not sure that that's true. I just think that you're out of practice because nobody is born. If you think about when we're not born saying, I'm not playful, because children naturally play.
I just want to work.
Life, yes, life simply teaches us to stop.
Yeah.
And the good news is play isn't lost, it's waiting. And I tell them play is waiting for you. You don't have to become a comedian. You just have to become curious again. And once I say it, the curiosity switch turns on and they're like, okay. And if they watch enough games, eventually they're going to participate. And nine times out of 10, I had one person in the entire decades that I've been doing this say, I don't want, no, I'm not doing this. They just refuse to do it. And I think long after that person was like, I'm not, they resigned. They didn't even want to work in the environment. So maybe it was
Yeah.
just not a fit for them.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because, like, I mean, I love giggling, coming back to that kind of that story too, and just kind of grounding some of this stuff. I I very seldom had hobbies, and hobbies are fun. It's like something you get to do, and you like doing it. So I been working since I was in kindergarten. Just jobs like paper route, working in yards. And then like I even got a job when I was 14 till I was 15 because I just wanted to work. I wanted to make my like it was just crazy like that. But I mean, that's where I thought my worth was, and I'm learning more about that because the working, all you do is just keep shutting down because you're tired, and then you go back into working, and it's
Yes.
like you just nonstop. So this is really important. I could see how this would affect their personal life. You're building a whole family ecosystem along with you coming in. How long have you been doing this type of work? And where did play come from for you?
So for me, I started playing when I was a kid. So, well,
Hmm.
I was playing as a kid, but what happened for me was I was, a lot of times I was like this. I know you're not going to believe this when I tell you this, but I was a shy kid. So I'm
Me
not shy
too. I
now,
used to not
but
talk.
yeah, I was shy. And what happened was I would, that's how I worked out my problems. So my favorite game as a kid, even as a little girl, if I didn't like doing something, I would turn it into a game. So I would spend countless hours trying to beat my high score in Miss Pac-Man. I'm dating myself with Miss Pac-Man, but I
Yes.
didn't even realize it then,
Our
although
game.
I was teaching myself persistence because every loss wasn't a failure. It was feedback for me. And I simply played another round. And that's how I got through any problem that I experienced. And I didn't make this connection until years later when I
Yeah.
realized adults need that same mindset, whether it's improving our communication, reducing stress, or just building stronger teams. Play changes the way we approach problems. So a lot of times, that's what I do now. Like my daughter is 8, and if she has a problem, like she has trouble at 8 controlling her emotions, she'll say, I'm really mad. And I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do if we're really mad? I'm like, is there something we should go play? Do you want to play a
You must be
game?
fun, so
So,
much fun as
yeah.
a mom. Go play Miss Pac-Man and we'll talk
Yeah.
about play.
Well, I need to source another Miss Pac Man because I kind of miss it, you know? Now
I
I'm playing
know. I'm a
different
Galaga
games.
girl, but at the same timing,
That and Pitfall. I don't know if you remember that one, but that was
I
another one of
didn't.
my favorites.
I didn't. Well, I keep thinking about Galaga and Galaxian because
Yeah.
those are like anytime if I'm around any arcade place, that just that connects me to that. So that I'm holding that space to keep talking about this because there's something about that is like finding something that you really enjoy and learning about what that is about too. Because we do get shut down about play, and we and not everybody. It sounds like you've been connected, which is so cool.
Yeah, but it took me, the interesting part
Hmm.
is it took me years to figure it out. Like this is my calling. Because I feel like we all have a calling.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't until the brain tumor happened. And after that, when I just remember I had after I woke up from surgery, you can't do anything. Like if you have a craniotomy, it feels like somebody took you and threw your head up and smashed it up against the wall. That's how bad the pain is, and you've nothing else to do but lay there and stare up at the ceiling tiles. And I just remember the hospital, there was like, the water stains in the ceiling. And I was like, I could be depressed staring at that. Or I kind of looked at it as a blank canvas. Like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Like I'm alive. Like there was other people that weren't as lucky,
Yeah.
because I also had a brain bleed on the table. They had to go out and tell the neurosurgeon had to go out and tell my fiance and my parents, like, we're trying to cauterize this, but she might not make it, like, type of thing. So I was grateful that I was alive, but how am I going to use this time? Like, what am I going to be doing? What do I really want to do? And that's kind of where the shift happened for me.
I'm just reveling in all this. This is so cool. And I just keep going back to that injury and not the injury. Well, I'm just going back to like the tumor thing. I know that I always connect it with the body too, because the body kind of really keeps telling us stuff. It's really interesting. What is something I want to finish it off this way, and then we'll get to how people can connect with you also. Give me some more information about you. What do you see, like what you said, everybody's here to do something. There's something, some special sauce that everybody has. What is it, something we haven't spoke about, that's something that just it drives you every day and it's in your heart? And it's not something that's probably mainstream that you have really talked about, but it's something that really drives you and helps you know that running a business is really intense. Getting people connected with what we're doing. Hey, I'm over here. Listen, this is great stuff. You want to hear it? But it's about sales and keeping up with everything. And there's something that really we drive with that. It's like this heart thing that keeps us moving. I always think about this because of having this humanitarian project, human experience, wanting to see everybody for who they really are. Because I know systemically everything's tethering together with this. What is that big thing that you have that is like it's just driving you?
For me, it's comedy, humor and comedy. So one of the things is I have a background in nutrition, so that's what my degrees are in. And nutrition taught me something that's true in every part of our lives, and that's really small habits create big results. And nobody becomes healthier from eating one salad, but nobody builds a great team from one workshop. It's those little choices that we make every single day. So I'm always and one of the other things that I didn't share with you is that I taught at a university for a decade, and my students, they would fill out the result the surveys of what they thought of me at the end of the year, and the one thing they always said was, "You're funny, you should go take a stand-up comedy class." So I was like, challenge accepted. And so I did, and that's how I got into comedy. But it was the best thing. Like, even at the time, I was kind of like, can't they write anything else besides I'm funny on this evaluation? But it was the best thing. And I thank them all the time for doing that,
Yeah.
because, like, thank you, students, whoever was a student of mine that said that, because that was the trajectory of my career. And that's really what I use to move me forward. And that's what surrounds everything that I do. That one element that is in every single thing I do is comedy and humor. I love making people laugh. And if I can't do that on a daily basis, I don't know what else I would do. So,
You just fall apart. I mean, because
yeah.
that's what your whole being is made of, And
Yeah.
I I want to give you kudos to a couple things here that's really deeply coming up for me. First thing is back to the brain thing, having that brain thing. Your brain is very interesting in the way that when you're doing one thing, and this is us as women, and you're displaying it perfectly of why we're so lucky to be a woman, so lucky, but you do it in a very masterful way. When you're working on something, that it means more than just what's right there in front of you. So you're already seeing, like, how to tether something together. So if I'm doing one stroke doing something, I can see you doing something, whatever that is. But somehow you can verbally express how that affects everything else, the trajectory of everything else. So with you, and that is special sauce. That's a wonderful experience to be with you in that. I find it interesting that you had a brain tumor because your brain is very, very interesting. Like, you have all these different layers and different things that you've been doing. Maybe you just think really, really hard, and your brain's like, okay, I just need a little break. Just give me, everybody thinking you might be passing away because they need to love on you more. Whatever their experience is of whatever they had to work through, and realize that they really, they had to pray and really get you back. Like, come on, we're going to keep you and make sure you stay or don't leave us. But there's something about that that's you do something very, very special in this world. And I really appreciate you with you displaying that. And again, with the laughter and the way that you're expressing what you're doing, it calms the nervous system so people can actually hear what you're saying. And so I really appreciate that. It was a great time spending time with you.
You as well. Thank you. Thanks again for having me on.
Where can people find you? I found you on LinkedIn. I bet you're all over the place, like perhaps on all the social medias. But is there a certain spot that you'd like to send people? And we'll make sure we get it and wrap it in with everything.
Oh, sure. So my website's lisajoneslive.com. And
Lisa
you can
Jones
also
Live.
.com.
Okay.
And they can also find me at Lisa Jones Live on Instagram and LinkedIn as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything fun you're doing these days that
I
is exciting
I
you? Are you working with groups of people in businesses, or is there any other kind of work that you're doing?
Yeah, in businesses, I also have a TV show called Women Winning the Game of Life, where I interview women mostly. I do have some men
Hands up
on, so I
for me,
would
please.
love to have you on, Rhonda. And we play a game and we do a little comedy sketch. It's a lot of fun. And we highlight you as the guest. So yeah, come on.
I'm ready to play, Mama. I'm ready. Thank you so much for taking out your time to be here and to share what your experience is here in your special gems and why you are here on Earth. Let's keep partnering in this human experience and be able to share into the world, how we are really changing this world. This is going on YouTube, and it's going to be shorts, and so people can see it all through different places, and they get to play and experience you in different ways. And I believe that we are really here globally. That's why we have the internet, is that we get to really make a change. And the more that we get to help people feel whimsical and laugh and know that they can have a hobby, which I'm still learning. What is my hobby? I actually have a few that I'm starting to learn I really like, because I love the water and stuff. Thank you. I appreciate you. You have a
Yeah,
wonderful
you
day.
as well. Thank you.
Fresh Talks Global Vision, hashtag speaker locking arms. Let's keep opening the voice. Let's check in with ourselves. Anytime we're shaming, blaming ourselves, let's be gentle on ourselves so we can reflect on others and give them more love and subconsciously not fighting others around us so we can be in whole, authentic, all in line. So we don't have to worry about anybody saying something and all of a sudden we just flip out because there's subconscious stuff going on. Let's keep trying to align ourselves all as one so that we really show up and no matter where we go, we feel safe. Our body heals because we're in that nervous system space where it just feels calm no matter if you're going to the grocery store, going to a party where you're concerned about what people think about your outfit, or you want to blend into the wall, whatever we all deal with. But I want that to feel calmer so that you can show up in your special gem. Just what Lisa, just what we were talking about. All right. Appreciate you. Enjoy yourself, everybody. Namaste. Bye-bye.